The governor of New York says it's good news that Pfizer has had a huge breakthrough in a vaccine for coronavirus, but it's bad news that this progress came during the Trump administration. So the bad news is the Trump administration might be in a position to implement Americans getting the vaccine, and that's bad news. He'd rather wait until Joe Biden takes over. I'm not kidding you. I've got the audio clip that will back this up. The governor of New York, Mr. Save the Day, I'm going to write a book about how wonderful I am. And boy, do I get annoyed at people bragging on themselves. Gosh, it makes I gotta learn to get some grace in my heart for people who brag on themselves. Honestly, I've got my belly full of people who just tell you how great they are and how, I just get so tired of it. And Cuomo is one of those egomaniacs that, imagine the gall of writing a book, giving yourself a pat on the back. 10 million Americans have had this virus. Quarter of a million Americans have died either from or with coronavirus in America. And this guy's on a book tour bragging on himself and now saying it's good news that Pfizer has this vaccine that's 90% effective apparently, but bad news that it didn't come until January when the Biden administration can take credit for it. Do you know how sick that is? Do you know how sick that is? How about the first takeaway that should come to mind? You think it's a coincidence that they made this announcement the Monday after the election? I mean, they couldn't make it a week before the election because a whole lot of people might have said, wow, Trump's Operation Warp Speed really worked. We are going to vote for the guy after all. And that could have been the margin of difference that put him over the top in Georgia, Pennsylvania. And it's not over at all. I know it's not over. I had somebody tell me yesterday, well, it's highly unlikely. A numbers guy, a political guy, good guy. It's highly unlikely. I'm hearing people say that. Heard that this morning a lot. It's highly unlikely. Yeah, it's about as likely as a 74-year-old man having to be hospitalized for COVID, and then a few days later, he's out barnstorming America with 5 or 6 rallies a day. Yeah, there's a lot of things about Trump world that's highly unlikely. So highly unlikely doesn't get to rule the day. We don't know what's going to happen. But these people are sick. They're so delusional with hatred, they can't bear the idea that Operation Warp Speed, which absolutely fundamentally did lead to, everybody knows that. Pfizer had to admit after they first initially tried to deny they were part of Operation Warp Speed, well, yeah, we are going to get like $100 billion from the government to distribute the vaccine. When they tell you that everybody's going to get the vaccine for free, you don't understand there's no free here. We're paying for that because the Trump administration pledged billions of dollars to distribute it. They're giving the billions of dollars, the government, meaning you and me, the Trump administration, to Pfizer to distribute the vaccine as part of Operation Warp Speed. Now that they've done it, these nutcases want to say Trump doesn't get any credit for it. And the bad, honest to goodness, I saw this clip before I came into the studio today, and I told my producer, there's no way the governor of New York said this. There's no way that a supposedly responsible elected government official, the governor of the most populated state in America, I guess, I don't even know anymore, but the blue state governor of New York sat down with the blue state host of ABC's morning show, the former Clinton aide, George Stephanopoulos, and said this. There's no way. Oh, wait a minute. What's this?
The bad news is that it's about 2 months before Joe Biden takes over, and that means this administration is going to be implementing a vaccine plan. The vaccine plan is very important, and it's probably the most ambitious undertaking since COVID began. The Trump administration is rolling out the vaccination plan, and I believe it's flawed.
Years ago, I was on a panel with some of my Salem colleagues, and I said that there are occasions where Democrats are capable of sheer evil. And I remember a couple of the guys on the panel, it's not important who, but you could probably guess. Two of them said, "Oh, Mike, don't use that word evil when it comes to politics. They're not evil. They may not agree with us, but they're not evil." You don't think that's evil? You don't think that's a sickness? That Cuomo says it's bad news that the Pfizer coronavirus announcement came during the Trump administration? What would you call it?